I only want to start this with the peace greeting because of addressing JR Wisdom, another Muslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger, and I want to give special shouts out not only to S. Jacques and to J. Whitlock, but about 35 special shouts out to D. Smith for coming through on the Cash App. Thanks to all of you. Special thanks, gunshot sound effects, and 20 black man salute to D. Smith for coming through so generously on that Cash App. From the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind, thank you. I'll get right to it. I saved something for part 2, and it wound up becoming very relevant. Perfect segue. Because a story happened that illustrates my point. I decided to save for part 2 the effect of the inflated self-esteem, the big ego, the megalomania. Some would probably call it narcissism. But this inflated self-importance that many Westernicians have in today's time. J.R. Wisdom said, continue trying to approach young brothers. This is how it goes all over the world. The man must go. The man is the hunter, the man, the man. And, you know, when you're in the West, where men are not allowed to be men until it's convenient for them, you must understand that it's always going to be that way until you withdraw the benefits of manhood. And one of them is that they don't have to approach, but you do. No, you're always burdened because you're willing to be burdened. When you make the approaches in the West, in a context in which it's not even appreciated. And mind you, J.R. Wisdom and I, both being Muslims, know what the proper approach is. Because if she doesn't want that, you're still not at fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And this is clear cut in our faith. But see, everybody ain't got that though. You're in the West where you make an approach and if she don't like you, it's your fault, and you're an idiot, and they do the whole nuclear rejection thing. See, when they do a rejection that's not nuclear, it's like saying, well, I'm not available, but you're not wrong for the effort, and thanks for the compliment. I'm just taken. Or I wouldn't be a good match, and I know that, but I don't blame you for not knowing, and thank you for the compliment. See, that's a non-nuclear polite rejection's message behind it. A nuclear rejection has a message to it that you're inferior and you weren't even supposed to think you had a shot. Why would you? I'm insulted you even tried. You're beneath me, and I'm insulted that you didn't realize that, because I don't believe in equality. I believe in inferiority and superiority. And I'm going to tell you something about that, what that does. See, there's one thing that does. It leads you to act like Wes on that stage with Fresh and Fit. The bodybuilder that went to prison, that dude. Man, I'll slap you, silly. That kind of guy. In the end, it just comes down to you can't kick my behind, so I'm better than you, that sort of thing. I got Bugattis. He doesn't have a relationship with his parents. You see, my parents don't like a lot of the technological ways to keep in touch. And so they don't say much to me, but it's not because they hate me or I hate them. It's because if I do send them these electronic messages, even voice notes, they don't really answer for a long time because they don't like to use that. But I have to live here to earn my money. And it does eat away at me, especially now as they're getting older. But we don't have no relationship. However, I don't get to hear from them as much as I would like to because I don't get to live there. This man gets to live in the same nation. He's rich. He can live where he wants. He could live near his parents. He doesn't have a relationship with them if what the commentators underneath some videos are saying is true. Doesn't have a relationship with one of his sons if what they're saying is true. And likewise, if what they're saying is true, he doesn't have one with his siblings. If these things are false, then I'm glad for him and for his relatives that he has these relationships still. If they're telling the truth, then let that be a lesson learned. But he does not believe in equality. He believes that once he gets muscles and wealth and the trappings of alpha maleness, so to speak, and alpha manhood, the machismo of it is satisfied, then you know what? He's superior. And one of the family men on that stage said, listen, if you're going to follow behind guys who do who went to prison and then turned their lives around, you still have to ask why they went to prison in the first place. And that is true. This is something that I applaud the Black Manosphere for introducing into the Black population, because while we all knew this was the elephant in the room we did not want to discuss. In order to be a motivational speaker to the Black youth of the inner city, urban youth, you had to have gone through the shiganit first. You were not allowed to be a non-former. Why not? Because we don't believe that's in our nature. That's why. But we didn't apply this to massa. So now you got a 40-year-old man with all the muscles and the growling and what he owns and everything else. But he's in his 40s wearing jeans with holes in them, talking like a high schooler. Not willing to look at what you have to sacrifice to get what you want. And for everybody, it's a give and take. You don't just get everything. No one gets all. So in any case, that's one thing it leads to. Now, I'm going to tell you this. If one of the ways that Wes got into that mindset was that he started to get approval from the bitches. The hoes, Westernicians, whatever the shade is, he got approval from them. And that right there leads to a type of psychosis, because you have to appeal to them at their level in order to get their approval. And therefore you have to take on some of that psychosis. The challenge, you got to lose some of that depth of what it means to be really, truly an adult man. But let me segue into the bigger issue here, the bigger elephant in the room. And this is something from which no man is immune. When you just keep on approaching in an environment in which they're already megalomaniacs and very self-important, because, well, they can be, but it's a fragile megalomania, a fragile self-esteem that they have, then while they really do think they're superior to you, they'll do anything to not lose that feeling, which is very fragile. So what do? Well, they really, keep in mind, they really do believe that they're better than you because you're validating that. Let's keep going. There's more. All right. I want you to write this name down. Angela Borisova Urumova. Some young chick in Pennsylvania, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, who called the police on a man that she said tried to abduct her from a parking lot and tried to struggle snuggle her. She described a real man. She described his truck, and she gave a real man's license number, his tag number. The police proceeded to pick up this real person, lock him up in the Bucks County jail, and he sat there for 31 days before she finally admitted that, you know what, it wasn't him. As a matter of fact, nobody tried anything like that. But the policeman had to ask, well, we know that his truck, though it exists, does not actually have a history of ever being in that particular parking lot. It's never been there. So with that being said, why did you pick this man? I mean, he does exist. You know of his existence. You described him to us. Why did you pick this man? Her answer was, well, I know about him from another job. I saw him in the parking lot of my other former job, and he looks creepy. This was her reason for lying on a man and getting him locked up, and the laceration on her lip that added credibility to the report came from her own grandmother. This was the problem. Do you understand now what happens when you continue validating psychotic broads in a psychotic culture? You continue validating them. They don't understand your own value. And they feel that they're entitled to and deserving of a flawless man, a flawless victory, a flawless this, that, and the other. And that becomes a problem, gentlemen, because what happens when they don't get it? Well, when they don't get it, then they can't appreciate whoever does approach them. They can't even appreciate the humanity of whoever approaches them. They can't really see any value in any of the men at all, except for the one that they want, and that's going to wear off because, well, he's human. So eventually there will, a boredom will set in. Just still look for bigger and better. Can't win. Can't win for losing. It's nothing you can do. So you have to stop trying. That's important, gentlemen. In the West, you must quit trying. They have said that you're equals, and they've said they are superior to you. They have said that they can do everything you can do except better, but then they won't value you enough to make an effort, to make an approach. You do that to them, you validate them, you validate their delusion. They don't see it as delusion anymore. And then later on, when they're not getting what they want, they turn around and they look at the one that they think might want them and they say he's creepy, ew, and eventually they'll even falsely accuse him. We know because this happened among some elementary school girls back in, I think, 2014, or maybe it was even before that. I heard Tom Likas mention it in 2014. That's when I heard about it. Elementary school girls falsely accused the boy in their class because he looked icky and creepy. They're fast becoming hyper subject to feeling icky and feeling the ick and having the ick from any guy. And then they're going to turn around and start calling police on these guys. And I'm for one, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the message that you should just keep on trying, like that's not waiting on you. I don't know how often it happens like that, but the fact that it can happen once and ruin your life is enough. Don't do it. You're not inferior that you should have to. So cut it out. I want you gentlemen to start thinking of yourself as being too valuable to chase after psychotic, delusional broads in a cultural context that socializes them to be psychotic and delusional. And I hope that what I've said benefits you in the long run. Thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Like patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. And thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.